"Come on over, Jack," beckoned the man in the suit. "Lean into the microphone." So that was it. "Relax now, son, and tell us your story," is what he meant. Tell us about Walsh and Gaskin, who slept a few feet away in your lice-infested Yokohama prison camp. Tell us how they shared food when there was extra, how they looked out for each other, how they celebrated their birthdays with a little hoarded rice. Put us alongside you in camp that day in Kamaishi near the end of the war, when the American battle wagon in the blue-green harbor opened up, shelling the nearby Japanese steel mill for more than 2 hours. Details, details. Paint for us how the whole forward deck of the USS Massachusetts lit up with flames and black smoke, and then 5, 6, 7 seconds later, shells whistled so close overhead, it was as if you could reach up and let them slip through your fingers before they exploded into the buildings. Explain how Gaskin and the others dove into a shelter, but you, because you had some sixth sense about such things, ran towards the bay carrying only your trusty blanket. And there you lay in that rocky ditch before your prison barracks, hearing those shells crying overhead in the mid-span of a hot summer afternoon. Describe how an American shell, one of your very own, hit the POW shelter near the steel foundry, and Gaskin died quickly while his buddy Walsh was away on work detail. Tell us how you watched one prisoner after another come screaming out of that shelter, chased by red-yellow flames licking at their clothes. Remember how a few days later, one of those prisoners died, the skin on his blistered back and arms crawling with white maggots. Remember it all, and let us savor the details. Tell us how 300 of you walked into the mountains that night to sleep on the hardwood floor of a bombed-out schoolhouse. It rained, remember, and 2 grimy prisoners shared your blanket, bone-cold, all of you. The next morning, Walsh begged to return and cremate the dead down at the steel mill, mostly his buddy Gaskin. Everyone knew, didn't they, that that was the last thing you did for a friend. You laid his soul to rest, and maybe a little of your own as well. But they forgot to tell you that over there, stories never had a Hollywood ending. So Walsh waited in the courtyard of the school along with everyone else that morning, when the high-octane whine of an American plane skimmed through the sunshine. A second plane hissed right behind, with a bomb that exploded several hundred feet away. It was a wild, random shot, completely ridiculous, except that it tore out a chunk of concrete the size of a cantaloupe and sent it hurtling through the sunlight. It must have been God sent, that deadly piece of rock. How else do you explain why it picked out Walsh, and only Walsh, from the 300 others standing in that courtyard? And then it was Walsh they loaded on that small wood cart. And it was his body they lugged down the hillside, where it was cremated alongside Gaskin. Walsh and Gaskin, Gaskin and Walsh, together again. The church audience waited, sizing him up like his father had that first day back. You either tell them everything, or you tell them nothing. Tell them about the forever tomorrows of a Japanese prison camp. Tell them what it's like bathing once every 2 weeks in water tepid and filthy from the stink of dozens before. Describe what it meant sleeping on a hard, cold board with 2 cocooned blankets, and the same tired thoughts rattling inside your head. You either tell all, or you tell nothing. Give them credit, Jack whispered into the big chrome microphone, his eyes searching out his parents. They sent me off in good shape. And then he sat down, and spent most of his life trying to forget.